And joining us now to discuss all these issues and more is Bartłomiej Kot, Program Director at the Warsaw Security Forum. Hello and welcome to TVP World.
Good morning.
So we've had these optimistic assumptions, but following this informal summit, we would actually be able to tell who's going to take which position in the European Union. However, latest reports indicate there is still no agreement. What do you make of that? Do you think that these names that were just mentioned as top candidates are now threatened in any way?
Well, you know, politics is actually a kind of theater, so you wouldn't expect that the play will end so soon. I mean, everyone who's involved, including Macron or Meloni, they all want to actually shape the future Commission, and they will also want to show to their own electorates that they have a power to decide. So
it would have been premature.
Yes, indeed. I mean, I wouldn't say that anything changes after yesterday's evening, actually, dinner that was supposed to have a concrete result with the names. The names are, as they were actually mentioned, those are all actually household names. We all know who is there, like a short runner when it comes to the top posts. The only issue is right now how it plays actually politically. So, of course, there are also some expectations, some, I would say, even ambitions on the EPP side, so European People's Party, that they want to actually, I would say, have even a better result when it comes to the top jobs. The European elections result was very optimistic for them. Of course, von der Leyen, because we are talking right now about the council itself, the support given by the, let's say, top politicians from each of the country. But then you also have to have the approval of the parliament. And this is actually where the magic happens, let me put it that way. Because, of course, EPP has right now quite a fair majority of 400 votes in the European Parliament, MEPs, better than expected, but we cannot expect, let me put it that way, that each of the members of the European Parliament that is a part of the EPP will actually cast a vote in favor of Ursula von der Leyen. So this is actually where von der Leyen has to be very cautious, and I also understand why the results are not that clear after the dinner, because they want to have the politicians, they first of all, of course, want to show to the electorates that they have a power to decide, but they also want to have like a clear view on where their support is right now.
So how likely is it that she'll secure the second term?
85%, if I were to say that way. I wouldn't gamble here. Of course, it all depends on several issues. Also, how much operative Orban and Meloni will be during the upcoming weeks. Because if they succeed in forming a closer coalition, they might have, as I said, kind of a blocking minority, and that would be an expectation from their side also to be somehow mentioned when it comes to to who will be there in the top jobs. Because currently we have, of course, the clear EPP plus Socialist plus Renew majority. And this is actually where, between all those parties, the approval and the candidates from these parties are mentioned actually to be there on top posts. None of the conservatives, none of the reformists mentioned. So Orban and Meloni, they actually keep on saying that you do not respect the result of the elections, because people were casting votes also in favor of course, the conservatives, and this is actually a clear change as compared to the previous elections. So you would automatically also want to discuss the policies, not only the top jobs, not only the people. And if you discuss the top jobs and the people, then you would also want to have one of those conservatives be there somewhere in at the top of the commission, or somewhere at the top of the council, for example.
So what you're saying is not just about factional negotiations within the mainstream majority, but also about perhaps not appeasing the minority there, but basically paying attention to what they're going to do. But mathematically, is there a real risk that they would really unite? I mean, with all the disparate programs that they have. I mean, if you compare Viktor Orban, for example, or Alternative for Deutschland with some other of these parties, they do not agree on fundamental issues, perhaps such as security. So do you think that you know, imagining them uniting is still going to be little more than a pipe dream.
Honestly speaking, I mean, the odds are, of course, in favor of von der Leyen. But as you said, I mean, of course, we may not have the unity on the side of conservatives, but at the same time, we do not also have the full clarity how would every single MEP from EPP react and act during the voting procedure. So that's why von der Leyen has this, you know, they're saying that there's around 10% of possibility, I mean 10% of MEPs from EPP that may not vote for von der Leyen, which is basically speaking 40 people. And she has to have the majority of 361. So this is like a very thin line. So, you know, someone said that if you would bet on Brexit happening and Trump being elected as a president, you would win millions of dollars, and both things happen. So in this very regard, I wouldn't bet on von der Leyen, although I understand that there is like a politically a majority that is in favor of her currently, and I can also be very much you know, happy with the fact that Poland plays some kind of an operative role in making that happen.
Now I'm really curious now about the process itself, the selection process, because not everything is happening out in the open. So to your mind, how do informal negotiations complement the formal summit proceedings within the EU Leadership Summit?
I mean, in my opinion, everything that is happening right now is, of course, very much on a personal basis. The leaders they were actually discussing this stuff over a dinner, with no telephones included, actually, and no even some staffers, etc., etc. So it was a very personal discussion. Of course, we have some, you know, remarks and some comments from this closed-door setting. People saying that, for example, Meloni wasn't participating in the very first part of the discussion. She was a bit grumpy, etc., etc. So you would, you know, you can some kind rate the how people react and how they actually coordinate with their counterparts. But this is also very much on the personal basis. Of course, some of the news outlets are even counting how many kisses von der Leyen does with every single leader when she greets with them, and Orban only handshakes her. He doesn't have the
speaks volumes.
Yeah. So
trying to basically get, you know, some sort of prediction from, you know, from these signs. I mean, it almost looks like old-style Kremlinology, right?
It is. But let me put it that way. We are in the midst of also some kind of a political tension, especially in France. So I would expect that this internal politics will also make a difference here, because Macron clearly also has something to win when it comes to his internal French politics, and he also has to show that he's like a power player here, like maybe even a puppet master when it comes to to European politics. So of course the internal politics has very concrete impact on the European Union level. But at the same time, I guess we are just right after European elections. We know what is the result. We know where the odds are. So not supporting von der Leyen in the end, unless anything very big happens, unless there is like a clear candidate from also the EPP, let's be honest, because the biggest party would be here, like the instrumental. Then I would say that von der Leyen will be the new president of the Commission. Although, take that into account that there is this old saying that whoever enters the conclave with the appointment of being the Pope, then usually doesn't become a Pope.
So overall, we've got negotiations over the dinner table, but it remains to be seen which of these proposals is going to end up as the literal chef's kiss that everyone is going to agree upon. Bartłomiej Kot was our guest today here on TVP World. Thank you very much for joining us and for sharing your expertise.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.